As has been widely reported, in 2013 Hillary Clinton was paid $675,000 for 3 speeches to Goldman Sachs. One was delivered on June 4, 2013 at the 2013 IBD CEO Annual Conference at the Inn at Palmetto Bluff in South Carolina. A second one took place on October 24, 2013 at the Goldman Sachs Asset Management Ames Alternative Investment Symposium, and the last one was delivered on October 29, 2013 at the Goldman Sachs Builders and Innovators Summit. The speech transcripts, in their entirety, were revealed for the first time in an email from Tony Clark, Research Director at Hillary for America, in an email dated January 23, 2016, and disclosed to the public for the first time ever during today's latest WikiLeaks of Podesta emails. In the email Clark says, "The 3 I misspoke about 5 earlier speeches to Goldman are attached with some parts highlighted. Below are some of the more noteworthy quotes. The highlights Clark refers to are the following. In the first excerpt, Hillary Clinton rightfully mocks Dodd-Frank as nothing but a political contrivance which was created solely for political reasons, as there was also a need to do something because for political reasons. To wit, Clinton said, with Dodd-Frank, there was a need to do something because for political reasons, because members of Congress can't sit idly by and do nothing. And with political people, again, I would say the same thing. There was a lot of complaining about Dodd-Frank, but there was also a need to do something because for political reasons. If you were an elected member of Congress and people in your constituency were losing jobs and shutting businesses and everybody in the press is saying it's all the fault of Wall Street, you can't sit idly by and do nothing, but what you do is really important." GS2, October 24, 2013, ******. In the second highlighted excerpt, Tim O'Neill, Global Co-Head of the Investment Management Division, thanks Hillary for her continued involvement in the issues inaudible to be courageous in some respects to associated with Wall Street and this environment, and then thanks her very much. Tim O'Neill told Clinton we really did appreciate it when she had been courageous in some respects to associated with Wall Street and this environment. Mr. O'Neill, by the way, we really did appreciate when you were the senator from New York and your continued involvement in the issues inaudible to be courageous in some respects to associated with Wall Street and this environment. Thank you very much." Secretary Clinton, "Well, I don't feel particularly courageous. I mean, if we're going to be an effective, efficient economy, we need to have all part of that engine running well, and that includes Wall Street and Main Street. And there's a big disconnect and a lot of confusion right now. So I'm not interested in, turning the clock back or pointing fingers, but I am interested in trying to figure out how we come together to chart a better way forward and one that will restore confidence in, small and medium-sized businesses and consumers and begin to chip away at the unemployment rate. So it's something that if you're a realist, that people have different roles to play in politics, economics, and this is an important role, but I do think that there has to be an understanding of how what happens here on Wall Street has such broad consequences not just for the domestic but the global economy, so more thought has to be given to the process and transactions and regulations so that we don't kill or maim what works, but we concentrate on the most effective way of moving forward with the brainpower and the financial power that exists here." GS2, October 24, 2013, ******. In a third noted excerpt, Clinton pitches the idea that the best regulation of Wall Street is self-regulation, because the people that know the industry better than anybody are the people who work in the industry. Speaking about financial regulations, Clinton said the people that know the industry better than anybody are the people who work in the industry. There's nothing magic about regulations. Too much is bad, too little is bad. How do you get to the golden key? How do we figure out what works? And the people that know the industry better than anybody are the people who work in the industry. GS2, October 24, 2013. In a fourth excerpt, Hillary admits she had great relations and works so close together with Wall Street and has a lot of respect for the work you do and the people who do it. Clinton said, "I represented all of you for 8 years. I had great relations and worked so close together after 9/11 to rebuild downtown." I represented all of you for 8 years. I had great relations and worked so close together after 9/11 to rebuild downtown, and a lot of respect for the work you do and the people who do it. But I think that when we talk about the regulators and the politicians, the economic consequences of bad decisions back in '08, were devastating, and they had repercussions throughout the world. GS2, October 24, 2013. The fifth and final highlighted excerpt blames banks' unwillingness to do what they need to do due to fear of regulations, the same regulations which in the same speech she said should be left to Wall Street. Clinton said banks are not doing what they need to do because they're scared of regulations, they're scared of the other shoe dropping. I mean, right now, there are so many places in our country where the banks are not doing what they need to do because they're scared of regulations, they're scared of the other shoe dropping, they're just plain scared, so credit is not flowing the way it needs to restart economic growth. So people are, they're still uncertain, and they're uncertain both because they don't know what might come next in terms of regulations, but they're also uncertain because of changes in a global economy that we're only beginning to take hold of. GS2, October 24, 2013. Additionally, as flagged by Reuters earlier, in the June 4 Goldman Sachs speech, Hillary warned Beijing it would ring China with missile defense unless it did more to rein in North Korea's missile program. Because they could not only do damage to our treaty allies, namely Japan and South Korea, but they could actually reach Hawaii and the West Coast theoretically, and we're going to ring China with missile defense. We're going to put more of our fleet in the area. Clinton told Goldman that the message to China had been, you either control them, or we're going to have to defend against them. According to Reuters, the State Department on Friday declined to comment on alleged leaked documents. When asked whether such a message had been delivered to China, an official said it was not department policy to comment publicly on diplomatic discussions. Although Clinton's reported comments raised a stir in Asia, Reuters adds. Clinton said she also told her Chinese counterparts that the United States had as much a claim to the Pacific as China, given that U.S. forces had liberated it in World War II. China had a right to assert themselves, but the United States needed to push back to create a balance to prevent China taking a chokehold on sea lanes and countries bordering the South China Sea, she said. Clinton gives yet another confirmation that Saudi Arabia and the Emirates are funding the jihadists in Syria, aka the Islamic State. If you look at what's happening in Syria, it's clearly a multiply-level proxy battle. We've got Iran with their agents in Hezbollah, and they're being taken on by indigenous rebels, but increasingly a collection of jihadists who are funded by the Saudis, funded by the Emirates, funded by Qatar. And you have the Turks that were very active in the beginning, but then began to be concerned by some of the development inside Syria, particularly among the northern and northeastern Kurdish population in Syria. Here are some interesting thoughts on Syria from June 2013, in which she herself admitted that a no-fly zone in Syria would kill a lot of Syrians. So let's just take a step back and look at the situation that we currently have in Syria. Before the uprising started in Syria, it was clear that you had a minority government running with the Alawites and lead with mostly the other minority groups, Christians, the Druze, some significant Sunni business leaders. But it was clearly a minority that sat on top of a majority. And the uprisings when they began were fairly mild in terms of what they were asking for, And Assad very well could have, in my view, bought them off with some cosmetic changes that would not have resulted in what we have seen over the now 2 years, and the 100,000 deaths and the destabilization that is going on in Lebanon, in Jordan, even in Turkey, and the threat throwing to Israel, and the kind of pitched battle in Iran well supported by Russia, Saudi, Jordanians and others trying to equip the majority Sunni fighters. I think that we have tried very hard over the last 2 years to use the diplomatic tools that were available to us and to try to convince, first of all, the Russians that they were helping to create a situation that could not help but become more chaotic, because the longer Assad was able to hold out and then to move offensively against the rebels, the more likely it was that the rebels would turn into what Assad has called them, terrorists, and well-equipped, and bringing in Al-Qaeda and its affiliates. The Russians' view of this is very different. I mean, who conceives Syria the same way he sees Chechnya? You know, you have to support toughness and absolute merciless reactions in order to drive the opposition down to be strangled, and you can't give an inch to them, and you have to be will.